Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DC Live. We're thrilled to have you with us today for an exciting show filled with entertainment, information, and inspiration. But before we dive into the main event, we have a special treat for you. Our first commercial is about to roll, and it's something you won't want to miss. And don't forget, we've got some fantastic prizes to give away, so stay tuned for your chance to win big. We'll be also hosting a live Q&A session where you can interact with our hosts. Get those questions ready and don't miss this opportunity to engage with us. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be captivated by what's coming your way, because DC Live is about to kick off in style. Thank you for joining us, and let the excitement begin.
Hey guys, Dorothy and Marlis here, and we just want to pop in and give you a lot of information.
So let's talk about the different points of how we can assist each and every one of you.
First, we want to remind all of the existing stylists that if you refer a friend and they complete their certification, you get a $200 hair credit on your account. And no matter how many stylists you refer, you will continue to get $200 credit for each one. But that's not all.
I'll tell you, Dorothy, I actually took advantage of this a ton for years when I worked behind the chair, and it saved my butt a few times having that credit on my account. Because we know that life can get tough with family and bills, and sometimes having that credit that never expires at your fingertips really is just such a huge weight off of your shoulders.
So let's talk about the stylists that have taken one of the courses but not the other. So either I-tip and tape or K-tip and weft. Both Marlis and I firmly believe that being certified in all four methods is really a key to success, and let me give you an example why. Say that you are I-tip and tape certified, and a potential client calls. She currently has K-tips in her hair, but wants to switch to wefts. You try to talk to her about why she could choose I-tips. She says, no thank you. I have had all the methods and wefts are best for me. That's what I want. So now you have two choices. You can either let her know, I'm sorry, I don't do those methods, and you just lost a client because now she has to go find somebody else. Or two, you can ask her to give you maybe a little bit of time to get certified and hope she'll wait. But no matter what, you're gonna run the risk of not being able to book that client.
But if you're certified in all four methods, and trust me, we know that we all have our favorite and least favorite, but if you have that knowledge of all four, you're prepared to remove or install any method requested. And we truly believe also that knowledge is power, and knowledge also eliminates fear. And we're here to help you be as successful as humanly possible. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to both of us. You can reach us at marlis@dreamcatchers.com and dorothy@dreamcatchers.com. And we hope that this finds you healthy and happy, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Model.
Hey guys, welcome to the NSG DC Live. Tonight you're going to get to see a lot of education, a lot of installs. We're going to be giving away some great prizes, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun. So I'm Marlis Mendez. I'm the head of education for NSG and for DC both. I'm going to pass it off to my buddy Josh.
I'm Josh Asenjo. I'm one of the head educators for NSG.
I'm Chris Mackey. I'm on the NSG team.
And I'm Stacy Darty, and I'm on the NSG team and the DC team. Now we're going to go ahead and introduce our amazing models. I'm going to start with mine. Tonight I am with the beautiful Katie. We are going to be doing a 2-row weft install on her. Her wefts have been previously taken out, and I've got everything prepped and ready, and we're super excited.
Today I am going to be doing a install on our NSG system on Ender. He's been growing his hair out a little bit on the top to get some length to show you guys. So this is going to be a big transformation for him. We have a lace unit. I'm really excited to show you guys the results.
And here I'm with my model, Janice. So a really cool little story about tonight is we're actually doing our very first DC NSG hybrid. So Marlis had this really cool idea. Let's add more fullness through the mids and ends of Janice's hair. So she went in and added 3 rows of Dreamcatcher's half-point I-tips just to add a little bit of fullness down through here. And we will be going in and doing a NSG install in the top. So I'm super excited. And Marlis, what do you got going on?
It's going to be awesome. So over here on Miss Shelby, it's time for her extensions to be replaced. So I'm going to show how to very quickly do one of our removals, and then we're going to be putting 3 wefts on, and she's wanting to get some of that length back. So it'll be great for her. It's a fresh start moving into winter. A lot of people don't like to put new extensions in right before summer because you're going to be out swimming. So this is the time of year to definitely get that new hair. So we're excited to get that done for her. So Josh, do you want to talk to them, show them like one of the kits?
Yeah, so Janice, follow me over here. Let's hop over to this lovely table. Now, you guys will also see there's lots of prizes here. We're going to be giving these away tonight, as well as this NSG kit. Now, this NSG kit is loaded with all kinds of cool stuff that you're going to be using not only in your class, but behind the chair doing this amazing life-changing service. So you have all of the adhesives and liquids that you're going to be needing. It comes with a training system. One of my favorite things that it comes with is the Limited Effects Fabulous Pro trimmers. They're also NSG custom engraved. These are absolutely amazing. And it's loaded with tons of amazing things. And then Marlis, what about that amazing DC kit that's over there?
Janice, come over here my direction. Let's show them what we got going in this kit. I love this case. It's super easy and convenient. You're going to have lots of goodies like pop sockets, selfie sticks. That way you can catch content. It's going to come with all the training hair you need. It comes with a heat tool with a nice little pouch, which I love. Makes it easy for travel. The swatch with all 59 colors. You're going to have your weft toolkit. You're going to have your I-tip toolkit. You're going to have all 6 color cylinders for I-tips and wefts. That one got a little stuck. Your threaders and other goodies as well. So these classes are great for the 4-in-1. For the online, it's $4.99. For the hands-on, it's $5.99. And tonight, if you sign up, you're going to get that 10% off. So take advantage of that deal tonight because this is a amazing class. Nowhere can you get 4 systems for this low of a price. And I promise you, our education is top notch. So, Janice, while you're here, I want to quickly show how easy it is to do a removal on our wefts. So what I want to do first is I want to pull it up and I want to drop down all of her natural hair that is underneath it. Even when doing removals, you want to make sure to take the time to do clean sections. So then once I get those out of the way, what I want to do is I want to grab my cylinders and I want to drop that part down on each one of these. Now, as you can see, she's been wearing these for probably about 8 weeks now, so she's just a little bit overdue, but we knew we were going to be doing this new set. So, and as you can see, she perfectly took care of it, so she definitely gets a pass for going past her 6-week mark. But you can see because it was definitely time, the cylinders have lost their little coating. So it's a good thing we're doing it all new. Now, because we're going to be doing a new set, one of the things we talk about a lot is you want to make sure not to just continually put extensions right over the same place over and over again. Because what happens when you do that is you're going to wear that hair out after time, and that's when you can get breakage. So many people say, oh, extensions are so damaging. When extensions have damaged hair, either one of 2 things have happened, or a combination of both. It wasn't a good install, or it wasn't taken care of properly at home. Both have to do their part, and it will ensure that hair stays healthy. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because we're not going to put these extensions right on the same spot. I'm going to adjust the section. That way, it gives this hair, who's been holding this extensions for 8 weeks, a rest, which it needs. So, almost got them all. Takes a second, last one. Now, when I go to pin this up, I don't want to pull it tight. I want to give a little bit of slack here. Then I'm going to take my pop and release tool, and all you have to do, squeeze and open. Super easy. You zoomed in tight, Janice? Yay. So I'm going to continue doing this all the way around. I love the pop and release tool because this is such an easy way, especially during removals, for any of your cylinder-based methods. Okay. Last ones. So now, oh, got a little stuck there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to pull these cylinders away. And I'm going to show you one of the things that is so satisfying to so many stylists is the release of the wefts. So, all right, Janice, we're going to turn her this way because this is so satisfying to watch. That pull down. Got a little bit stuck right there, but it's okay. If that happens, just make sure to pull gently.
It's real life. You
There
don't
it
always get
goes.
the perfect
It
pull.
finally let go. Thank goodness. All right, I'm gonna throw it over to Josh now after I've been on the struggle bus for a minute.
Okay, so I'm going in and I'm sectioning out the top of Janice's hair. I'm identifying the area that is affected with thinning and hair loss. When you are sectioning out your affected area, when you're mapping out your NSG, it's important to make sure that you are, one, making sure that you're not lopsided to one side or the other. Also, it's important to make sure that you go at least to the round of the head. That way, when you lay that system down, especially for men, going short on the sides, that way you get a proper blend. So for Janice, I'm sectioning out the top of her hair, and you'll notice that I have the front hairline out. Now, one thing that I like to say, if you're able to keep their natural hairline and place the system behind that, that is going to be your best option because their natural hair in the front is going to help that become more seamless and just blend away and look so natural. So I'm going to continue to section the top of her hair, and then we're going to go ahead and take this down and prep for our system. So, Chris, what do you got going on over there?
Yeah, so I have already gone through and sectioned out Ender's affected area. It's going to be going right through the crown of his head. I'm going to turn you around real quick. So we're going to remove all this hair. Anywhere that it is light, I'm going to make sure that I'm removing. So sometimes I'll take my finger or my comb and place it down and just figure out exactly how far do I want to go back. This is pretty straightforward. We're going to go ahead and get this removed. Let me mute my mic real quick.
All right, so I'm working on Miss Katie. And what I was telling y'all earlier is that she was prepped and ready whenever she came in. So her extensions had already been removed. But I did want to show you guys that removing the so important on an install. So what I'm going to do is remove her old thread from her wefts prior to her install. You always want to have patience and go slowly whenever you are trimming the thread off your wefts. You never want to leave old thread on whenever you're doing a new install. You want all of that old thread to come off. And I use my small scissors and I just slowly trim off the thread. You want to make sure you're not cutting into the weft and make sure you're not cutting any of the hair. So I'm going to go through and trim off all these little pieces and get them prepped and ready. And then another thing that I did to prep for her install was I matched her cylinders to her natural, and I have all of her weft cylinders. So what I like to do is match my weft cylinders to my client's natural. And so with her grow out, you can tell that she will be a dark brown. And that will just camouflage her new growth with the cylinders. So I'm going to continue to get her weft prepped and ready, and then I'll start installing cylinders.
Chris, have you told them what you're up to?
So we've gone through and removed all of the affected, the hair that's grown in through the affected area on Ender. I'm going to go through and make an actual template of his head now. So this template, this mold, it's going to be how we always know exactly where to put his hairline. Every single time that he's showing up, coming to the shop, needs to get it reapplied with this unit, it'll be exactly where he wants it to be. He will be wearing the unit for roughly about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. He has a pretty active lifestyle, so it'll vary from client to client on how long their attachment time is. Some people can go about 4 weeks. Some people have to, reattach it or do a little maintenance on the very front if they have a more active lifestyle. Josh, how long do you wear your unit for?
So throwing me right out there.
Sorry.
So not only am I an educator for NSG, I'm also a client. So I've been wearing NSG for a couple of years now. It's definitely life-changing. I personally go about 2 weeks in between my reapplications. In the summer, I go about a week and a half. And then as it gets colder in the winter time, I like to go about 3. Sometimes I'll really push it to 4, but I never go more than 4. It's important to make sure that you're on top of your maintenance.
Yeah, and I'm about every 10 to 14 days I'll reapply my unit. But like Josh said, once you get to the winter time, you can get those longer attachments. So it's great, natural hair. You can just kind of wear it, and continue on with your normal lifestyle. But it is absolutely life-changing when you actually get a unit on and change your appearance.
So I've gone in and I've prepped Janice's scalp. You guys can see that I left that front hairline and I went just to the round of her head. And it's not a big area. We're not creating a huge system for her. We're just creating something that's going to lay over the top of everything, which we will then layer in to give her a nice natural look, but giving her that fullness that she's always wanted. So now that I've gotten to this point, again, we're keeping the natural hairline, so we don't have to mark that hairline. We're gonna let this kind of be our guide. So Chris, I'm gonna come over here and steal your plastic wrap. So also keep in mind, everything that we are using tonight, whether it's DC or NSG, all of these tools, even this plastic wrap, you will get in your kit. So you're not seeing us use something that, you don't get. So I'm gonna go ahead and start creating our mold. I'm going to stretch this plastic wrap over the top of her head, bring it down. Now make sure that I'm not letting it move too much. And then I'm going to cut this off on this side. I'm not going to give away everything for making this mold. If you guys want more in-depth how to make a mold, I can't recommend highly enough. Sign up for one of our NSG classes. We've got them going on all over the country. You can go to nsghair.com or give us a call tonight between 6 and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you'll get 10% off of that amazing course.
Hey, Josh, I saw that someone asked, how do you know when it's time to remove a unit and redo the unit? Does it lift? So I'm going to let you answer this since you actually know what it feels like.
Yeah, so as you're wearing it and, day-to-day life is happening, it can start to lift, especially in that front hairline. That's why it's very important to make sure that you're on top of that maintenance, because if you go too long, that front can start to lift and then it'll start lifting farther and farther back. And next thing you know, you'll wake up in the morning with your system laying next to you on your pillow. As long as you're not going too long in between your maintenance appointments, you're not going to have to really worry. Typically, I would say, about a week to 2 weeks in, if you're wearing a lace system especially, you may need to go in and retape your front hairline. But other than that, it's nice and secure. You're not going to get a ton of lifting unless you're really messing with it too much.
So I want to answer one question that somebody asked is, if the hair unit is lifting in the front slightly in between service appointments, do you give the client some glue to use themselves or have them come in? Let me actually show you something. Denise, follow me. So we have our boxes for our units over here. We have both poly and lace. But one of the cool things that comes in this, just a little bit, is it's actually going to come with this really little beautiful case. We don't have it filled yet, but it's going to come with a sample of shampoo, conditioner, lace release, and it's going to come with some tape tabs. 2 different sizes, both boomerang and slight curve. That way, if they ever have those emergencies at home, they'll be able to repair it. So, yeah. So absolutely, we set you up to where you can teach your clients what to do if it does happen, and they do get some of that lifting at the hairline until they can get back in that chair with you. So just wanted to answer that question.
So I'm going in and I'm laying my strapping tape down. This is going to create the structure of our mold. The tape has kind of like fibers or strings going through it, which makes it nice and strong. It is also super freaking sticky. So Stacy, what's going on over in your land?
Okay, guys, so I have removed all the thread from my wefts, and since my cylinders were threaded, I am getting started on installing cylinders on Katie's first row. And I will just turn her like this and show you that by picking the dark brown, it's going to be nice and seamless to add that weft on top. And then if she was to put it up, it's going to blend perfectly in with her natural. So I'm just going to keep installing her cylinders. Like I said earlier, she has 4 wefts. She's going to have 2 on each row. And then I'm actually going to make her a little bit of a hybrid install because she had told me she wanted a little bit of length around her face. And whenever I measured her wefts, it wasn't really going to hit where I wanted it to. And so we're going to add a couple tape ins and face frame those and give her a little bit more of that length that she wants around her face.
So someone asked, I know I just saw a question about whether to use poly or lace. Chris, I'm gonna let you jump in about that. You've been doing this for a really long time. How to help clients choose which one?
So really, that's gonna depend on a few different factors. How long, like what look are you gonna be going for? Your skin type, your preference, how long are you wanting this unit to last, breathability. There's a lot of different options out there. For Ender, we decided to go with a lace unit, just the benefits of it being more breathable. I think that will be a better option for him and his lifestyle. Poly units are nice though. You know, things like if you want to go swimming, your adhesive will kind of have that separation compared to a lace unit. You know, it really, I don't want to say like one's better than the other. I would say try both and figure out which one you like better. For me with lace, I like lace units if, you know, I want to do like a down fringe or have everything kind of forward. Poly units, I like those because they go back really easily. But I feel like lace has, you know, versatility with styling. So it really just depends from the client's perspective and like what their preference is. But there are plenty of options, so you can really do whichever.
And I've personally had both poly and lace, and my current one is actually a custom combo system, which is really cool. And for me, it's very difficult to say which one is better. They all have like really great benefits. Personally, right now I'm wearing a combo, so it has a 1-inch poly around the edge and then lace down the center and then the front hairline. And I love the way it feels on my head. Also, one thing I get asked a lot is, do you feel like you're wearing something constantly when you're wearing a hair system? And honestly, no. 90% of the time, I don't even think of anything being on my head. Okay, so I've gone in and I have laid out the map for my mold. Now I'm going to go in and cut along that outside line. And then this is going to be an exact guide of our affected area. That way I can customize the system for Janice, which her system is actually going to be this one right here. And I'm very excited about this.
I am also finished with Katie's first row with all her cylinders. After I get all the cylinders in, I like to take my wefts and just re-measure to make sure that I've installed enough and that it is going to be a perfect fit before I start putting any of my clips in. And it was. So now that I've measured it, I'll start clipping the weft down in between all the cylinders.
I just saw someone ask, do we offer custom units with NSG? Yes, we do. You can get them customized. We have several of our ladies that have a almost full lace with 1-inch custom poly going around the edge from temple to temple. One's like what Josh has, where it's almost, wait, no, do yours has the around the edges, right?
Yep,
Josh,
just around the edges.
Yes, just around the edges. But there's also ones where you can get poly to go all the way up through here, and it's just that front hairline that has the lace. So that's also another great way you can do it. Or you can just order an all poly, all lace, custom leads all the way up to 20 inches. So yes, there's a lot of different customization that you can do. One of the things I'd even actually talked to Janice about earlier is next time we did kind of like, we built her in the spot kind of last minute, so we didn't have time to custom order a unit from her, but I would love to in the future, because then we can even get it longer and do a longer look as her hair is growing out with extensions. So But we're going to go ahead and go to commercial now. So we'll be right back.
Sign up for Dreamcatcher's courses today and find out why we're the best in the industry. Join a class full of other talented individuals and become certified to install our high-quality extensions. Our expert educators will guide you through every detail in order to ensure you can step up your stylist game and pad your wallet. Give us a call at 855-373-2683 or visit dreamcatchers.com to find out how to sign up today.
Imagine a world where you're the key to unlocking confidence, where thinning hair becomes a thing of the past. With our non-surgical hair replacement classes, you'll learn from the very best, witnessing life-changing transformations that prove our methods work. Picture yourself confidently helping clients regain their hair and self-esteem. Our mentors will guide you every step of the way, ensuring your success. Join a rewarding career in hair restoration today. Transform lives with confidence. Your journey begins here.
So we have a really special guest here to introduce. So this is Brent, and we love having him join us for different events. So Brent, why don't you tell our audience a little bit of your story?
When I went to go get the consult for my few hair replacements for the follicles, I was going back. I had to do my test. They made me do a COVID test, and what happened was they said I had failed. Luckily, a good friend of mine had said, hey, you need to check out NSG, and my friend Chris. So I was able to link up with Chris, the owner. I was able to come out and get a consult. And so that was my first introduction to being able to use the NSG hair. With that, I can't tell you how much has changed for me. I know that with getting the implant that I would have gotten done, my hairline would not have been even close to what it is today with the NSG. So that's just a huge benefit that you get out being able to use this. The hairline looks completely natural. This new hair that I have, I can't even, they can tell you by just touching it, is so super soft. It's very, very easy to work.
Remember, I was like
maintain.
on Friday trying to pick it up.
Yeah.
It's so soft.
It's been so crazy that I'm afraid to actually use product in it because it's so soft and I feel like it's going to gum it up. But in any case, the hair quality is absolutely great. And I'll give you just a quick thing that happened to me, and I think this is for anybody that's getting the NSG hairline. I was actually traveling for work, and going up to one of the counters at one of the hotels, I asked one of the ladies, I said, hey, what do you think of my hair? It was when I got one of my NSG units. And she was like, oh, she's like, your hair's great. I go, would you style it any different? I'm like, just kind of just curious, just asking your opinion. And she was like, well, maybe I would just brush it a little bit this way or whatever. And I said, well, let me ask you, if I told you if this wasn't real, what would you think? And she's like, what isn't real? And I go, well, my hair. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I could never tell. So my point to all that is when you go get an NSG unit and you get it installed and you have great people like Josh and Marlis and Chris Mackey that's worked on my hair, it's absolutely amazing. And that's the confidence that you want when you're out, because for anybody that doesn't, have natural hair and has to use one of these, that's the thing that really drives you and makes, being able to have one of these and all the confidence. So it's an absolute great product. Can't say enough about it. The team that's here and it's been assembled. And again, just to reiterate, the quality of the hair is absolutely amazing. The last thing that I'll say, with having tried different units before, I use the lace unit that's there, and then I do obviously a full tape on mine. But the one thing that I will tell you, I can't even feel this thing on the top of my head. It literally feels like it's just my natural head, my scalp. So not only that, and then again, just the quality of the hair has just been amazing. So big shout out to this team. They've done a great job, and totally recommend anybody that's looking to get it to definitely go with NSG.
100%. Thank you,
Well,
Brent.
thank you for that. All right, so the first prize that we're going to be giving away tonight is going to be a mystery bag. So we have 2 mystery bags back here. These are going to be filled with all kinds of cool products. And this is going to Cosmopunk Beauty. So Cosmopunk Beauty, you get a mystery bag. Send an email to social media at dreamcatchers.com with your name, phone number, and email address, or your name, phone number, and address, and we'll get this shipped out to you. And Marlis, what else do you got?
You got it. Okay, so for the second one, we have the Battleless Nano Titanium Curling Iron. This thing is great. It's a 1 1/4. For all those extensions, I love this curling iron for that because it has that longer barrel, which is really great. Because when you've added all that length, using a short one, it make you a little frustrated as it does. So this is going to go to Shelby Hardy. Congratulations. Like he said, email, social media at dreamcatchers.com. Give your name, your address,
And your phone number.
Now the next one is me. The clippers. Like Josh said, in the kit you get the NSG trimmers, but these are the actual clippers as well. It comes with all of the guards in it, and it's going to have that custom NSG logo. This is going to go to Tamira Ramos. Sorry if I said that wrong. So again, email, social media at dreamcatchers.com. And last one.
Oh, that was it.
Oh,
Yep.
nope, just right.
So congratulations to you three. We're going to jump back into it. And if you didn't win a prize this time, don't worry. We've got plenty more to come.
Absolutely.
Chris, what do you got going on over there?
All right, so we have Ender's template and his mold completed. This is going to be an exact fit to his custom thinning. So we have our template and our mold. I'm going to take this and then stencil it onto his unit. That's going to be the actual customization that you'll learn in the classes. And I kind of just want to reiterate, it's 10% tonight while the live's going. Make sure you're signing up. From this mold, we'll have his custom unit, and then I'm going to prep the scalp and then get it applied. So he should have his hair on roughly in the next 30 minutes.
So someone asked how often can they shampoo the hair system? You really only want to shampoo about maybe 1 to 2 times per week, but it's okay to completely rinse it every day. If, there's plenty of guys, like if they're hot and sweaty every day, they don't want to just sit there with that. So you can easily get in, you can rinse it off. You can even throw a little conditioner on the ends if you'd like, but you really only need to shampoo it 1 to 2 times per week. Would you agree with that?
Yes, yeah, I actually, I also completely agree with that. You can still rinse it daily. If you are rinsing, you can do a little bit of conditioner. You just don't want to overwash the hair. Since it's not attached to the scalp, it's not going to be getting the oils that it needs to stay properly moisturized. If you were to be, washing it every single day, the hair does not need that.
Exactly. I personally wash my hair once a week, and then every other day, I just rinse it, run a little bit of conditioner through the ends. And typically when you're shampooing the hair, you're shampooing the oil from the scalp or removing a lot of product buildup. So, excuse me. So it's very important to make sure that you are using a product that's going to be water soluble that will easily rinse from the hair.
Yes.
So I have finished the mold for Janice, and this is going to be a perfect fit for the top of her head, keeping that front hairline and covering that area of that affected area. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to transfer it over to our NSG system. So I'm going to trace this out, and then this is going to be our system that we will be installing for Janice.
Yep.
So Marlis, what's going on over here?
I'm still working on doing her cylinders. Someone said how many bundles are being used in each row of the table weft installation. Are you the table weft?
That's me.
How many are you using, Stacy?
So
I'm using 3 over here on my 1 row. How many are you doing?
I'm using 2 each per row. So she's going to have 2 rows, 2 wefts per row. So it's going to be 4 bundles total. But I can show y'all. So another thing I like to do whenever I'm prepping for my install is making sure I have the right color thread. So since her hair is a little darker, even though her wefts are blonde, I'm still going in with a brown thread, and I'm going to go ahead and start sewing. I'm going to have my needle prepped and ready, but as you can see, that's still going to just match her natural and blend in seamlessly whenever I start sewing. And then another thing I can show you guys is the clips. So I'm using my wefting clips, and what I like to do is go horizontal. I start with a horizontal on the side, usually about just 1 pocket in. So I go horizontal, and then all of my clips I go vertical, and then I end with another horizontal. I feel like that keeps it very secure for me when I start sewing. And then that's what I'm going to get ready to do now. Chris, how's it going on your unit?
Yeah, and so I am a few minutes ahead of Josh. So actually, whenever we could flip cameras, this is going to be what the outline looks like, and I'm going through and actually carving the unit out. So my lace unit, you know, I'm going to use almost all the canvas that I do have available. This unit's an 8x10. So he does have, you know, a decent sized unit, but there's still plenty of space as well, even after we've carved this out. So should just take a few minutes. I'm going to gently go through with my razor blade, making sure that I'm not cutting any of the actual hair that we have attached to the system.
Josh, have you started cutting yet?
So I'm actually just about to start cutting out my system based on the mold that I transferred. But before I cut it out, I actually want to, I actually want to show you guys a few things on the base of this system. So one, we are working with a lace system. So this is going to be more breathable. It's going to be a little bit more versatile when it comes to styling as well. Two, there's a few things that you're going to notice. So when you look at the front hairline of this system, you'll notice this area is lighter as well as this
Denise,
area.
I want you to get real close over there.
Yeah, I'm going to come
Real
nice and close
close.
to you as well. So here in the crown and here in that front hairline, you'll notice it's a little bit lighter. So that is because we have had our manufacturer go in and bleach those knots. That way, when this is on the scalp, I'm trying to get a good spot so I can show you guys. Look at that. You can't see any of those knots. That is going to blend seamlessly into the scalp. It's going to look like it is their own natural growing hair. So we did that right in that front hairline because that's the spot that everyone sees the most, as well as back here in the crown, in case you have any of that hair that decides to split. Now you don't have to worry about seeing those knots in that crown area.
Which I've never seen it done in the crown before.
And to show you guys what it looks like when you don't have bleach knots, here on the side, see how you can see those knots there? So that's how it's going to be throughout the rest, where it's not going to be quite as visible. But then in that front hairline, which is one of the most important spots, you cannot see any knots, which is amazing. I've seen and worked with many other different systems, and sometimes you'll see bleach knots in the front hairline. It's very rare, but this is something that you will only get with NSG.
That's right.
So now I'm going to go in and start to cut out this little system that I've customized for Janice. And Marlis, how's it going on over here with Shelby?
It is going really good. I just finished putting on all of her cylinders. Now, one of the things I did with Shelby, she already told me beforehand that she really likes the way she likes to wear her hair. She wants it to come all the way to that full maximum 2-finger length. So even if the wefts don't completely reach, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly stagger them off from each other. That way she gets that full coverage that she wants moving forward and that length that we're going for. And we are just going to do the bare minimum trimming at the end because she really wants to keep that length.
All right, I will take over, and I am sewing Katie's first row. So I'm right-handed. So what I did was start on her right side, and I am getting her first row sewn in. And I will say, when I'm doing wefts, like nice clean lines, clean rows, the Velcro separators are, Velcro strips are my best friend. I love using those, especially when there's little baby hairs, and just keeps everything nice and clean. When I'm sewing, I always like to keep my tension up. So I'm always sewing through the pockets and keeping a finger right at the top of that weft so no little stray hairs get in. And then I like to pull my tension up, and that's a good way to keep that thread right on top of the weft. And then as I'm going, I take my clips off as I go so they're not in my way, and I'm just going to continue on for her first row. Then when I finish up her first row, I'm going to go ahead and section for her second and get it all ready.
All right, so I got Ender's system completely stenciled out, and I'm going to prep his scalp and get everything clean, sterilized, and secured. I went through and used ISO 99 to pull out any oils and just sterilize the head. Once again, we have the unit template, the mold, that can go on so we can dot out our hairline, and I'll know exactly where the system needs to be laid behind. I already got started. Usually I'll use like either the grease pencil, or you can use like a eye makeup pencil. Sometimes you can, use something that if you accidentally put tape or adhesive over it, it just looks like a freckle. Try to avoid using, the Sharpies that come in the kit. That way you can take it off.
So I am just about done cutting out the system for Janice. When I'm doing this, I work very slowly and very carefully. I don't want to miscut, because if I did that, the system's not going to fit her properly, and then we would be in a lot of trouble, because behind the chair, now you're going to have to go and purchase a new system for them. So it's always important to make sure that you're properly creating their mold, and then when you cut it out into their system, that you're working nice and slow. And then you'll just be able to remove that from the rest of the system, separating the two, and making sure that we don't have any little pieces still connected. And now we have our custom piece to go right on top of Janice's head to give her that fullness and that nice volume and thickness that she's been. Now keep in mind, when you guys trace out your mold onto the system, you're using the white grease pencil, you might still have a little bit of white left over on the base of your system. It's very important to make sure that you go in and clean that off, because if not, you may run the risk of seeing that through their system, and nobody wants to see white lines on their head.
Definitely not.
So I'm just going to use my ISO and a microfiber towel and remove that last little bit of white.
So I have all my wefts attached, but I broke a cardinal rule. I didn't have everything thread, so I'm going to have to go get a needle and thread, so I will be back. I did see a question earlier about the thread and color matching. So typically what you want to do is you want to match it to whatever the client's base is. That way it's going to blend in the best and not be seen. You would always rather go darker than lighter, because that way if it's too bright and light, it's going to stand out. Say if the wind does move or create, you would rather create a shadow, not a highlight. So I will be right back, and I'm going to go grab some needle and thread.
So one thing I want to show you guys, so Janice, I want you to get real close. Now, keep in mind, this is not installed on her head yet. It's not cut and blended. So when we finish installing this, we're going to create a lot of layers in here. But I want you to get nice and close to this hairline, okay? So you'll see here in the front, we kept her natural bio hair. Right here is the edge of her system. But look how seamlessly that is laying with her hair. You'll be able to get nice and close, and you're not going to see anything there. It's just going to look like her own natural scalp. Go ahead and look down a little bit for me, Janice. Can you guys see that right there? So keeping that little bit of natural hair in the front is going to give you the most seamless, blended, natural appearance. So anytime I have a client in my chair and I'm able to keep their natural front hairline, I do so, because that's going to give us an incredible result. So Marlis, what are some tips that you like to share when you're choosing the thread color for sewing on your wefts?
So I picked two colors out. Come on in close, Janice. So this is our light brown. So I'm going to kind of do is I'm holding it up to this band. I'm holding it vertical, and I'm going to hold it horizontal. I want to see how that blends out. And then I also have the other color that I'm trying to choose between, which is a dark brown. If I can get a little piece. So again, both of them really truly match pretty well, but I feel like I've got a little bit slightly better with this light brown. So we're going to go with this one right here. So And a quick, easy way, whenever you are taking, I'll show you real Janice real quick. Now I'm gonna back you up just a little. So whenever you're making your needle, typically for a full head all the way around, 2 wingspans is what you want to do. So I got 1. I'm going to roll that out. Of course, it goes haywire on me, but I'm still holding. I got 2. Can I borrow your scissors for a minute, Josh?
Absolutely.
I was waiting for a smart aleck response. Be like, no.
You know me too well.
I do know you too well. Here, I'll give these back. I don't I'm just borrowing them.
Thank you.
So once you have your 2 wingspans, you want to take the eyelet of your needle, and then I'm going to thread that through. Now, what you want to do is even it up to both sides. We teach in our education 2 different ways that you can make the needle, but I'm going to show you my super quick way. Have my 2 little bunny ears here, and I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to loop with my finger, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to pull and slide through. What this does is create an instant slip knot. So I don't have to go in, tie it 2 to 3 times. So I'm going to go in from both directions. I'm going to borrow your scissors again.
That's the last time.
No promises. And then I'm going to make my little bunny ears. You don't want to cut it all the way down to the knot because then it can come unraveled. We use nylon thread, double woven nylon thread. And what that does is with cotton can absorb moisture and it winds up swelling and contracting as you like wash your hair. With nylon, that doesn't happen. Nylon also doesn't get tangled as easily whenever you are doing your install. But the disadvantage of that, because cotton does knot more easily, is it doesn't come undone as well when you get it done correctly. But nylon, you just have to make sure to pull tight. Don't be afraid to pull on that string a little bit whenever you're going, because it's going to help make sure you have a nice secure knot. And we teach you in our education ways to make that sure that it's totally secure. That was a little bit of a tongue twister there. So, what's you got going on?
I want to go off a little bit of what Marlis was saying with the thread. I also use 2 to 2.5 wingspans when I'm doing the thread. And now that I'm getting ready to anchor her row, I like to have at least, if you can see, this much thread. If you're not using enough thread, it can be so frustrating when you're getting to the end because you don't have enough room to tie off that row and anchor and be able to use enough thread. So it can be so frustrating if you finish up and you only have about this much thread trying to tie those knots and be able to really get it secure. So using enough thread is so important. And so I'm going to go ahead and tie off her anchor and get started on her next row.
Janice, there's something I want to talk about over here. Someone said, why do you angle down on the weft? Does it ever make it heavier in the back versus just doing a straight line across the head on the weft? So as you can see, we do have hers a little bit more angled. She actually has a lot of density, so she can handle that little bit more of an angle because she wants that length in the back. Now, if someone say I have very fine hair. I have a very tiny horseshoe. You don't want it perfectly straight because the head's not perfectly straight. We have rounds. But when you have someone with finer hair, you don't angle it as much. You want to lessen that angle. That way, as it grows down, it doesn't pull as much. But because she does have that density, again, like I talked about earlier, we're not keeping it on the same spot. We actually moved it up a little bit. So we're always moving it around on those hairs so it's not stressing them out. And so, yes, with her hair, we actually can do that. So it's really going to vary client per client on how much you have it tilted or angled. If you guys noticed when Stacy did hers is a little bit less angle than what Shelby's is because Katie has a little bit more of that fine texture versus hers is a little bit more thick. Chris, what you got going on over there?
I am going through and applying my adhesive to the lace unit. So we're doing a tape application on Ender. Tape is going to be nice for him because we can get it off and reapplied quickly and make sure that the attachment's tight. I'm doing a perimeter, so I have the front hairline taped. I'm going to go through, follow the perimeter, and then I'm going to do one strip down the center so it's not lifting up or feeling loose for him. And this application with the weather right now probably lasts him about roughly 3 weeks, just depending on how much he's sweating and, you know, skin, how his skin type is.
So I am currently finishing up with the tape on Janice's scalp. And then I'm going to go ahead and tape the hairline on her system. And then she will be ready for her hair.
Yes. So someone had asked, if you run out of thread, do you just tie it off and start again? Yes. If you start running out of thread, you want to make sure to tie it off when you have enough to still be able to do a proper tie off and your 3 little end ties. And then usually what I'll do is I'll just back up like 1 cylinder. I'll start my anchor and then continue to finish out. That's why I always try to make sure that I leave enough, because there's nothing worse than running out for sure. And that's how someone else asked a question. Do you always do a deeper angle on thicker hair? Not always. It really just varies on what you're trying to accomplish. Because we are only doing 1 row on her, that's why we did angle it a little bit more and with what we're trying to achieve, because she's got the thickness. She wants that length around her face and in the bottom. But say if I was installing 3 rows on her, I would angle them less, because I would probably do 1 at the bottom, and then I would do 1 through here, and then another one right above it, probably about 1 to 2 finger space away, probably 2. So, how many different adhesive options are you training the use of? We actually have several different adhesives. We have water-based, acrylic, we have skin prep, we have lots of solvents, yeah. So we'll have, and we have tape, and we have a few different tape options. So yeah, Brian, we actually have quite a few different options available. Someone asked, are you using tape and glue afterwards?
So for Janice, I did a very, very thin layer of our Clear Bond, which is like an acrylic liquid adhesive, just to give a nice strong bond, because it's going to give the longest hold. And then I went over that with double tape, since we are using a lace system. It's going to give a nice secure hold. It's going to give her more longevity. And then I'm also taping the hairline. So we're going to go to one more commercial. We'll be back with another giveaway and some twists. So we'll see you guys soon.
Unlock your potential in the world of beauty. Ready to become a certified extensions pro? Sign up now for Dreamcatcher's extensions classes. Elevate your skills, seize endless opportunities, and turn dreams into reality. Empower yourself with expertise. Head to dreamcatchers.com and get signed up today.
I started wearing extensions after I gave myself a COVID cut and dye job. So I messed up my hair, and luckily I found Dreamcatchers, and they gave me a lot more confidence than I had before. Right now I have a hybrid extension system in my hair. I have wefts and I have I-tips. So for the wefts, they help fill in a lot of volume that I'm lacking. And then for the I-tips, my natural hair is about 10 inches shorter than the extensions. I'm wearing 24-inch extensions right now. And what the I-tips do is it kind of grabs at those baby hairs that I have and makes it kind of more natural, fills in that space that I wouldn't otherwise have. I feel like the Dreamcatcher's hair extensions has complemented my style so much. Not only does it make me feel a lot more confident, I love having long hair in general. I feel like the quality of my Dreamcatcher's hair extensions are great. They last, they're voluminous. I feel like when I style them, they look natural. They don't tangle like, cheaper extensions do. So I'm so happy with the quality of my hair. I feel like when I go out, whether it's for work or whether it's for friends, I get a lot of compliments, and a lot of the time people don't even realize that it's not my hair. And that's always a good thing. So happy about that.
All right, we're back. So time to do some giveaways.
All right.
Stacey,
Okay. For the first one, we've got the Babyless Pro flat iron, and that is from Instagram, and it's going to key2_the_city. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Send us your info to social media at dreamcatchers.com.
All right.
Congratulations.
For next, we have the NSG branded Babyliss Pro clippers. And this is going to be a YouTube entry. And this is going to Rodney Duncan. Congratulations, Rodney. These are your brand new clippers.
Yay, congrats. All right, and last but not least, we are giving away the shark fin shears. So this is also from YouTube, and this is going to go to Bella. Congratulations, everyone. We're so happy for y'all winning these gifts. And send your info to social media at dreamcatchers.com.
Congratulations.
So, got a little bit of a twist for you. So, as you know, I do both NSG and DC. But Josh, can you do extensions as well?
You know what? I can't. Stacy, what about you? Do you also do NSG?
I do both, yes.
That's awesome.
Chris, what about you? Do you do both?
You do, right? Please tell us you do.
I unfortunately do not, but I will tell you guys, NSG keeps me so busy. It's okay, but I will learn it at some point, I promise.
Right. But the beauty of if you do actually know how to do both is you can perform both of these services and you can switch off and have a team. So he's going to take over Shelby, and now I'm going to take over
TikTok.
Please.
All right. So I am dropping my needle, picking up where Marlis left off over here. So she has the weft beautifully clipped on. Now you guys will see that the top weft doesn't exactly match all the way to the end of the weft below it. I'm going to show you a cool trick to be able to tack those two wefts together so you don't have any corners sticking out of the way. So I'm going to start off on this side. I'm a righty, so I'm starting on the right side of the head. I'm going to move that clip out of my way. Now, this one is going to be at a pretty good spot where I'm easily going to be able to tack that down. The other side is going to be a little bit of a different story, and I'll show you guys how to deal with that in just a minute. So we're going to go in. We're going to start sewing on our wefts, making sure that we're controlling our thread, letting that knot sit right at the top of our weft. I'm going to move over to this side. Now, I don't want to do too many knots into her hair here, but I want to tack this together a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just around those wefts. And that's going to bring those wefts together so we don't have any little pieces that want to flap out on us. Nobody wants flappy wefts. Nobody wants flappy corners.
Not today, not any day.
Not today, not any day. Now, if you ever get that where you have one side of your thread that created a big loop, you can separate the two and then just pull, and then you'll be able to separate, bring that back up to the top of your weft and be nice and secure. Now that I've tacked that corner in, I'm going to go in and move towards the front of our wefts. Making sure I'm directing that thread up and making those knots sit at the top of our weft. Now I'm at the part where, in my opinion, is one of the most important parts when you are sewing on a weft, and that is properly anchoring those corners. So you never want to leave that corner flapping. One, that's going to want to stick out, and two, every time they brush their hair or shampoo their hair, run their fingers through their hair, it's going to cause that to get caught, and it could cause those hairs to get ripped out of the scalp, and we do not want that. So we're going to go side by side and create a couple little knots right beside each other until we get to that very edge. And with each knot, you'll notice that that weft is going to become more and more secure to the head. Now I'm at that point where I can go ahead and I'm going to move back in the opposite direction. So Marlis,
Yes.
what's going on over there?
I just laid her system down. So I'm about to seal it here in just a second and then start working on blending this all together.
Okay, I need to peek over here and look.
And Janice, actually, you could come up to me. I'm about to lay and
You're gonna look
them
amazing.
on real
Look at
quick.
that hairline. Oh my gosh. Ah, I'm so excited. I'm gonna still clip it.
All right, let's get Ender's hair on. Then go back just a little bit for me. Perfect. I'm just gonna follow my dotted hairline. Chin down real quick. All right. Got that on. I'm going to push it down just a little bit. Not going to apply any friction. And we can start getting an M section to get it cut out. But you can just look at the top part of his head. Put your chin down real quick. Let's see. Combs really easily. The quality of these units are great. The hair is phenomenal. I've used quite a bit of systems, so been loving using this NSG.
I'm going to jump in and give a little tip that I like to always keep in mind when I'm installing any system, any method, is we always emphasize to stand directly behind the section you're working on. And it really is important because moving your body position can change up how a cylinder gets installed. If I was trying to stand behind Katie and install over on her left side, it could be positioned wrong, give over direction, cause issues with her install later, and not have like a nice clean grow out. So always remember when you are doing any type of sectioning or installing, even whenever you're doing NSG and laying your systems, you want to be directly behind and position your body behind your client and centered.
So I'm still sewing on Shelby's wefts. Now again, we have stacked 3 wefts together. So as I'm sewing, Janice, I want you to get nice and close over here so everyone can see what I'm doing. So as I'm sewing, one, I'm making sure I'm controlling these wefts, but I'm also slightly pulling out just a little bit so I can make sure that I'm getting all 3 of those wefts together. You don't want to accidentally miss your bottom weft, and then now you have one that's going to have little loose spots. So again, make sure I'm controlling my weft, putting everything in place. So Jenny, see how I'm reaching underneath and I'm pushing that weft up? I'm making sure that I'm controlling all of my wefts as I'm working. And then when you have proper sectioning, you'll be able to see where each little subsection is. You'll be able to know that your cylinder is in the center of that section, which is going to make it nice and easy for when you are sewing on your wefts. So I'm just going to go in. I'm going to set my needle right here, clip that up. Now I'm just going to go in and reposition everything to make my life a lot easier. So I can see I've got all 3 of my wefts right there. Make sure they're all together. I can see one's dropping down a little bit, and we do not want that. Now I'm just going to go in and reclip. That way they are nice and secure.
Okay, so sometimes as stylists, one of the biggest things we have to learn how to do is adjust and adapt. Now, I knew before I started this, there was a high probability I might want to put more up here, but I didn't know how high the unit was going to go. So this row down here, I said it might be needed, it may not, I may move it around. I can feel right here, I like how much weight I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these extensions out here and I'm going to move them, because what I want to do is I want to feel in this right here. So when I lift up, I actually want to put some through here right underneath the unit, and that way it's going to bring a little bit more weight forward around her face. So never be afraid to adjust sometimes as you need it in your install, because sometimes you might go in and you might go real heavy at the bottom, and then you get the top and you go, I don't have enough. So then what you want to do is you want to come back and look at your density and go, can I remove some from there and adjust it around? Because that's the beauty of iTips, is you can always, because it's a cold fusion method, you can always open up, adjust them, and move them around as needed while you're performing this customization service. So that's what I'm going to do now. But one thing I want you to see while you're here, Look at that hairline. Is that not a beautiful thing? I just absolutely love it. Oh, can't wait till we get this all done. How's it going over there for you, Chris?
I've been going through and blending Ender's units, and you can see that this just goes straight into the natural hair from, we've done about an inch of his perimeter so far. So I'm going to travel that around, and then when we get to the top, I will start taking down the length. These units come at like a 6-inch standard, so it is important to remember that, natural hair has a lot of movement. So we're going to be taking off, obviously, quite a bit of hair to give him a shorter look and cutting a lot of texture into it. But I'm going to start by just going through and using my NSG blending comb for the sides. It really is nice too with the kit that everything you need, you could even, pack your kit up and go do a concierge service if you would like to. It's really convenient for anyone that's on the go or just wants to pick up those types of clients.
You've been thinking about, taking on a new service or broadening your experience as a stylist and adding a new skill. Whether you're wanting to do extensions or hair replacement, they're both great options. Now, hair replacement, keep in mind, is the highest profiting service in the industry. So not only are you going to change lives with NSG, but you are also going to change your lives by, adding more money into your pocket.
One thing I love about extensions, other than when you first get the hair, you don't have all the supplies you need, like color. You don't have to go get a developer and color and this and a booster and, some reparative stuff to add to it. You literally need the tools in your hand. That's it. So it's a very profitable service as a stylist. And if you can do it in a way that offers, customization, uniqueness, it's really what will help you build your, salon into a very profitable. I mean, if you're smart, you can easily get to 6 figures in this industry. And offering luxury services like this that not everybody can do is a really great way to do that.
And it's a really great way to set yourself apart from the rest.
100%.
And I feel like we see too many times that stylists that don't offer extensions are sending their clients that want a certain method of extensions to someone in another chair or another salon. And you being able to offer them those services, whether it be hair replacement or extensions, you're able to keep that client in your chair and happy, and they're coming to you for all of their services, not just color. They can get everything they want in one place.
Absolutely.
So I've moved up to Katie's top row. I have secured the wefts, and I'm going to start sewing as well. And whenever I finish out this top row, I'm going to go in and measure her tape ends and see if we're going to do a little hybrid look on her to give her some framing around her face. How's it going for you, Chris?
It's going good. We're making our way up through the perimeter, just blending in a little bit of hair at a time. I think Josh mentioned this earlier with the units, and probably the same thing with extensions. We're just going to take off a little bit of hair at a time because we don't want to actually cut too much off. We can be, careful if we're just taking our half-inch sections and working it through. And to, kind of touch base on what you were just saying, Stacy, adding, services under your belt so you aren't having to turn away clients. And I think, almost everybody knows at least one person that's suffering with hair loss. So I do think that is actually fairly easy to find, your first model, get them in, and then that can turn into something that, someone else is going to, they're going to tell somebody, and you'll generate clients that way.
Chris, you can really speak to the fact of specializing, because this is all you do, right? It's just pretty much hair replacement?
Yeah, since about 2018, I've just stuck with hair replacement. I kind of found out about it from my friend that started wearing hair, and it seemed like something that I was wanting to do. I honestly had a lot of guy clients, and I wasn't necessarily, I'm not a barber, I'm a cosmetologist, so this was a nice way for me to be able to keep up with the stylists on like a number level. Most of my coworkers were doing like extensions and color, and yes, I could do extensions and balayage, But for me, I just prefer to, work on like short haircuts, pixies, or specifically guys. And a lot of my guys were starting to get to that point. We were all getting a little older, so everyone's hairlines were thinning out, and I can't lie, selfishly, my hair was thinning out myself. So it was just kind of a good idea to, learn it and see what it had to offer. And it really just honestly changed my whole career, and I love it. So I've stuck with it.
Absolutely. Someone asked, how do you figure out how to charge? Depending on whether you're talking about extensions or NSG, we definitely help you, give you some good guidelines in our training, but then we also, you can at any point, if you need help, you can message myself, Dorothy, Josh, any of us, and we can help you out. But a lot of it is really truly going to depend on your experience. It's going to depend on your demographic, all those type of factors. But there can be quite a range.
Yeah, and I think, charging to where you're building clients and, still making a profit is a good way to go about it, because after a while, like usually when people start wearing the hair, they don't stop wearing the hair. So you kind of will work your way up and start, acquiring the clients that you do want. I would definitely say, like, it's easier to charge what you want to charge, once you're properly trained with NSG or DC. There's no reason why you can't really charge what you would like to charge in your area. I don't feel like you need to sell yourself short or give out a lot of discounts for a luxury service like this.
So when you are doing your anchoring, especially here in the corners, when you're doing your install, you want to make sure that your client has no conditioner or any kind of oil on their scalp. You want to make sure that you have proper sectioning. So when you install your cylinder, you want to make sure it's nice and tight. That way it's not going to slip. Also, when you are anchoring here, Janice, get nice and close. You guys will notice my three little knots there, they're side by side going right to the edge of the weft. You want to make sure you're not going around the weft, because if you end up going around the weft and now your knots are sitting on the side rather than on top of it, you're going to cause that weft to kind of pop out. Also, when you are wearing wefts, it's important to know how to wear your hair. So for example, for Shelby, she's going to want to wear her hair down. If she's like wanting to wear it back, she's going to want to wear it down and back. You never want to take your hair and pull it straight back, because it's going to pull on that side, and doing that can cause that front to become loose. It can pull hair out from that corner. Also, if you ever run into any point where that front is starting to slip down a little bit, you can lift up the front of your weft, clip that up, and then just slide your cylinder back up towards the base. Now that I've got her extensions installed, my next step is going to be going in and blending her extensions with her natural hair. So you never want to just put extensions in and let their natural hair lay in and then just let them go. You're not going to have a blend, and you're going to clearly be able to tell that that's extensions. So it's really important, even if it's just very subtle layering, just to make sure that you're going to get a nice blended natural look, because your goal when you're doing this is to marry two heads of hair. You want the extensions to blend in with their natural bio hair and become one. So that's going to be my next step. I'm just looking through, making sure that everything is nice and secure, making sure our stitching and everything is good. And that's all looking good. So I'm going to drop down the top of Shelby's hair, and then we're going to move into our blending. So Chris, how's it going over there with your haircut?
It's going really good. We just started going through, and I'm removing some of the weight from the sides. Like I said, just slowly moving. I'm going to do a lot of dry cutting, so kind of just getting my shape worked in right now. The blend's great though, and the hair feel is amazing. Definitely prefer this hair over what we had, prior at the start. So I'm just going through and making sure, there's quite a bit of hair on this unit, so I'm just removing all that excess that we're not going to need, so he has a good amount of movement through it.
So a quick tip I want to share with you guys when you are brushing out your extensions is, one, using the proper brush. So here I'm using the the NSG twist and turn brush, but we also have the snaggle twist brush from DC. And this is really cool because it's spring loaded, as you guys can see there. So if you catch any kind of tangle, it's not going to rip it out. It's just going to kind of flex past it. It's going to be gentle on the hair. It's not going to cause any stress. 2 is properly brushing the hair. So you don't want to just go up here and just go straight down. You want to start from the bottoms.
The bottoms?
And work your
I'm sorry, I couldn't let that one slide.
You want to go from the bottom and work your way up, keeping in mind that when you get towards the top, you don't put that brush right into their attachment area, because if you do that and then you pull, you may cause a little bit of tension. It may be painful for your client, and you can also, rip those extensions right from the scalp, which nobody wants to do. So when I'm brushing towards the top, I take my brush and I kind of go like that instead of like this. I go just with the very end, the very edge, and then brush very gently over it. So now that I've gone through, I've brushed her hair out, everything's looking good. I'm going to get ready to do our blending. And for our blending, I'm going to use the blending comb. There's many different ways to cutting extensions. Marlis, for one, loves shear cutting.
I do.
With hair extensions. I personally like using the blending comb or a feather razor. I look at it more as I'm kind of sculpting the haircut. I'm sculpting the shape. So using the blending comb is my favorite tool. And what's really cool is one side has wide teeth, which is going to remove more bulk and quickly remove length. And then the other side has fine teeth, which is going to blend and give softness and kind of add a little bit of texture. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to very gently remove about 1 inch from her ends. Now we want to keep the majority of her length, but we want to make sure that we have a good blend. So I'm going to go in and just clean up those ends a little bit, make it so it's not such a harsh line. And then I'm going to go in and do very subtle framing right here in the front, again, to marry her hair with her new extension hair.
Josh, I know I'm typically a shear cutter, but today, since we're going to be doing quite a bit of layers and texturizing, I think I'm actually going to use the blending comb probably today.
Ooh, yes.
So one thing is I want to show here, because I did take these from the bottom, they're a little bit shorter. I'm not stressed out about that because I'm actually using those for layers. So I'm going to be cutting into this a lot. We just basically did a single little chop around. It's not been cut yet. We're going to go and do that detailing here in just a few, but I can already tell even before this is cut, by the time we finish the cut and style, it's going to be beautiful. So, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump to commercial and we'll be back soon.
My name is Dustin Hanley. I live in Dallas, Texas, and I'm a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist now about 10 years. Yeah, no, I definitely have several male clients that are prematurely balding. We definitely have conversations, especially now that I have mine, because they've seen my struggle with hair loss and everything, and seeing the results of NSG on me and the difference it makes. So yeah, I've been getting quite a bit of interest in it. Some of the conversations I've had with my clientele that are thinking about doing a non-surgical hair replacement, like I said, we've looked at my journey with it and what it looks like with the replacement on me. And they're definitely seeing themselves wearing something very similar, because the surgical route seems like the results are varied and unpredictable and not the greatest. Yeah, for me, with NSG, it was a very instant result versus months and months of healing. So with my clientele, a few of them knew about it. I've talked to them about doing this, and a lot of them I didn't, just because I wanted to see a natural reaction to see if they're paying attention to me or if they can notice. The ones that didn't know I had it, mind you, I'm seeing these clients every 6 weeks or so, a lot of them didn't know I had something done. They just thought I had been styling it a little bit differently, or I added some products and moves, something like that. And the clients that knew I had it were so intrigued. They wanted to get in there and look through everything. They were super impressed with how natural it looked. I think anyone that's dealing with hair loss, the amount of money we will pay for hair is outstanding. And I've had clients pay for other things like hair replacement like drops or shampoos and stuff like that. I mean, they're going through all kinds of things. And if I can offer them something that's going to give you instant results, you don't have to wonder if it's going to work or how long it's going to take to work, there's definitely a profit to be made there. I heard about NSG actually on Instagram, through Josh's Instagram. I had tried another hair replacement company and the results were pretty bad. The application wasn't done very well, and I feel like the quality of the hair wasn't very well, so I got online and started searching around for something, and NSG popped up, and I reached out and contacted Josh and was very happy with our first session. I've been wearing the NSG hair system for about a year now, I think. Definitely now that I'm wearing NSG, there's some things I do now that I didn't do before, like going outside without a hat. I am okay with going outside on a windy day. I actually took a boat ride with the wind whipping through my hair and felt completely comfortable with it. The quality of the NSG hair feels so much more realistic. Like I said, I've tried other replacement systems before and it just feels wrong. It just feels not like my natural texture, and this one mimics it very well. My partner, my husband, when he cause obviously he knew I was gonna get this done, and I think he was nervous for me because he's seen me struggle with it, the hats. He's seen me again go through the other system and how badly that went, and he was very happy that I was happy with the new system.
All right, so welcome back. We're gonna go ahead and get into another prize giveaway. So this time I'm gonna go first.
Go for it.
So starting off, we have another Babyliss Pro curling iron. Again, these are absolutely amazing, especially when you're curling hair extensions, because it has that long barrel. You're gonna be able to wrap more hair around it. So this is going to a viewer that is on YouTube, Vanessa Nava.
Congratulations.
So congratulations. Make sure to send an email to socialmedia@dreamcatchers.com. Send your name, your address, and your phone number. And next up.
Man, your unit blends so beautifully. I'm like staring at the side.
I know, I love it. So next up, we have a viewer from Instagram. And this is Styles by _Nayshell. Styles by Nayshell. You are getting a Babyliss Pro flat iron. And again, these Babyliss tools are incredible. They hold up really well over time. I've been using these behind the chair for many, many years. So again, congratulations. Send an email to socialmedia@dreamcatchers.com. Name, address, and phone number. So Marlis, what do you got?
All right, last one. We have the mystery bag. I can't tell you what's in it because I don't know. It's a mystery. So this is from YouTube. We have WF. Where's the T? We see the T in the middle. So you have one, socialmedia@dreamcatchers.com. Send us your name, send us your address, and your email address. So congratulations to all of our winners. Let's jump back into some installs.
So now that I have Shelby's hair all blended and laying down, and we're both obsessing over it. It looks so good. We're gonna go in and do just a very light trim on the end so it's not so blunt. We're just gonna kind of soften that. We're gonna go in and just do the slightest bit of framing through the front. Shelby likes to keep her length. She does not want to lose this length. And the way she put it is we're just gonna kind of scrape the outside when we're doing that framing in the front. We're not going to go in and cut a lot. We're just going to scrape the outside, right? Yes, exactly. Yes. So when I'm doing my face framing, and I'm going to be using the fine-tooth side of my blending comb, I'm going to let her hair start to fall out, and I'm going to let the weight of my blade do the cutting. So I'm not going to go in and push. I'm going to just, as Shelby put it, scrape the outside. As you guys can see, that's creating a really soft, blended layer through there. I like to kind of fluff the hair around, see how it's laying, see if there's anything that kind of falls out of place. Now it's going to give us a really nice blend from her hair into her extensions. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, making sure I'm being mindful of where her weft is. So you guys will notice I'm not going in like this with my comb. I'm kind of gliding my comb down over her hair. That way I'm not going to catch her weft. So I'm gliding down. I'm going to separate her hair, let her natural hair fall out. I'm going to let the weight of my blade do the work for me. Scrape the edge. Now it is very important to make sure that you always go in and do some little bit of blending after you do your install. That way you are bringing those two heads of hair together and making it look as natural as possible. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to just kind of soften those ends. You guys will see that since we stacked 3 wefts together, those ends are a little blunt. So I want to just very slightly soften that and clean up those ends. Chris, how's it going on? How's it going over there? I can see that haircut's looking really good.
It's good. It's coming together. So I left a little bit of length on his right side to kind of just show you guys that the difference from left to right. I am going to do quite a bit of dry cutting today on his unit. Honestly, I feel like dry cutting is my favorite way to remove a lot of the excess weight. If you don't put a lot of movement into the hair, it's going to look pretty blocky. So even though, it might look all right while it's, still damp or wet, 60 or 80% wet, I'm really going to, deep cut and use a lot of texturizing techniques to blend this in just a little bit more. Another thing that I like to bring up too is a lot of times when you're going into a unit, the actual hair being on their head does not have to be like the longest hair that they've ever had in their life. Sometimes just the sheer amount of actual hair on a unit can be a little, a bit of a shock to the client. So I always say, go for most of my guys, we'll go shorter with the units. And then we do thin it out, usually more on their first unit. And then as they get used to it and they're talking to people and used to the amount of hair on their head, then they can go a little bit longer or a little bit thicker with the units. But at the beginning, you're really just going to want to start with, just less is more, I think.
So I'm all finished with Katie's install and I trimmed up her ends. We were reinstalling her bundles. So I went in and just checked for any tags, made sure everything was nice and blended. But I did tell you a little bit about she was wanting some extra length around her face, just to give her a little bit more deeper layers with her face frame. So what I'm going to do for Katie is clip in where I want to put the tape in, and then make sure that she's comfortable with that area before I actually install the tape in. So I'm just going to turn her, let her see the placement, make sure since we are going a little bit higher, we're still going to go about 2 fingers perimeter away from her face. You like it? Yeah. So she likes that placement, and so what I'm going to do is install a tape on both sides and then go in and frame her face one more time, and then I'm going to get her all curled. So this will make her a hybrid install today.
Okay, so I've finished doing the blending for Shelby. I did just a very soft, subtle blend right around that front, just to marry her extensions with her natural hair. Very soft, not overbearing with the layers, just a nice soft blend. And then I went in and just softened up those ends just a little bit, and then did some slight blending through to make sure that when her hair lays down, it's going to blend in nicely with her extensions. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do a very soft wave with the flat iron just to add a little bit of movement and dimension with her style. How you doing over here, Marlis?
I am doing really good. I have almost finished cutting the left side, and I want to show the difference between blending and not blending. Haven't run the flat iron over it or anything, but as you can see right here, we've got that blend around her face. I still want to pick up and I want to do a little bit more here, a little bit of texturizing. So I'm going to pick it up on my unit. And I'm just going to kind of scoop out a little bit of that weight right there on the ends. Just to make that really blend. So I've already kind of done some of the layers and everything, but again, with cutting extensions NSG, it's very visual. I am actually doing a mix of I know I said I was going to do all of the blending comb, but I'm actually doing a mix of both. So for the layers, I'm kind of going around. I like to take kind of vertical sections, but I never elevate them up. You don't want to elevate. You want to keep it kind of down low. As you can see, her hair is pretty close to about the same length overall. I think someone even asked about it earlier. Where she was missing is up here on the top and around her face, but she had a little bit of density back here. We just wanted to oomph it up. I love that word, oomph. So, but often when you do shorter cuts, sometimes what can happen is you wind up with those kind of blunt ends. So I like to kind of pick them up, flip them over, and just do a little bit of point cutting, just to soften them down a little bit. Now, where I am going to use that blending comb, I'm stopping my layers about halfway through, is around her face. Because like I said, I wasn't too worried about those. I'm taking some of them down. So I'm going to start up here. Now this right here is very blunt. I want to give this a little bit more shape. So I'm going to take the thinner two side, and I'm going to lightly go in texture and start creating that shape around her face that I want. Just soft little feathered movements. Now, you often get this little peak and point right over there. That's where it comes back from behind the ear. So Dorothy has a cool way to do it. She follows it to the back with a blade, but I actually like bringing it forward and then removing it with my shears. It's just a preference. I had a very strict person that I apprenticed with that was like, there's nothing you can't do without shears. You don't need a razor. And so it just got embedded to me so early in my career. But I still do love and appreciate a razor, but old habits are hard to break. So we continue bringing around. I noticed a couple of people made comments about how this has already started to bring her eyes out, make them more blue. It's just, first off, this is a beautiful tone. It has a little bit of a reddish brown tone, which is great for making those eyes pop. But she does. She has beautiful eyes. Stacey, what you got going on?
So I am doing a little face framing. I went ahead and added Katie's 2 tapes in. So she has a sandwich connecting her natural to her extensions, just kind of bringing that distance together. And I will say, for any stylist that do extensions and offer tapes, our tape press is so amazing. It really is game changer for tape ins. So when I installed her tape, I took my tape press and just gently pressed about 3 times and sealed that in. And it's definitely, like I said, game changer for tape ins. The press is amazing. So I have framed her around her face. She's all done. She has a nice seamless blend. And I'm just getting her brushed out before I put a little bit of curl. She's been without extensions for a few months now, so I know she's excited for the end results. So now I'm just going to get it all curled and she'll be done.
So I'm just going through and adding really soft, light waves through Shelby's hair, and then once I'm done adding these curls, I'm going to go in and brush them out so it's just a soft kind of tousled wave. You guys will notice I'm alternating the directions of my curls, that it's going to have a little bit more of a textured kind of tousled effect.
Are you using the flat iron?
I am using the flat iron.
Darn it, I may have to go get another one. Speaking of transformations, I'd love to show it styled, but somebody stole my flat iron. But
Not me.
Janice, look at this. We haven't finished styling it yet, and when she washes this, she's really going to get to see a lot of that volume But look how great that blend is. I want to show it from the front and I want to show it from the back as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So those
These
layers that I put in are
transformations.
really going to show whenever she washes it. But as you can see, we have some eye tips back here, kind of spread out. Because she came in with about this length, but we really needed to thicken up. It was very broken because she didn't have that density and fullness that she needed. We've got some layers around the face. And so I can't wait. I'm just going to put a little bit of soft movement in it. And if I don't get to finish beforehand, please check it out. We'll put it on our Instagram story. I'll make sure that you guys get to see it fully afterwards, all styled out.
These transformations alone are a reason to go sign up for classes, broaden your education, and your services behind the chair.
So I was saying that I went through and blow dried his hair. It's human hair, so I went through and used, hot heat, a little cool air to set it. He will have more volume, but as he washes it like once or twice, it's all just going to kind of rest down. The system, I always tell people, like, think of the initial, when it's put into the membrane, it's kind of like a thin wire. When you cut it, it kind of wants to have a little bit more lift. As it settles, you wash it a few times, it all condenses and relaxes down. But his hairline looks great. It's a excellent match. I'm going to use dry wax on his hair today. I like to just use a water-soluble wax. You can use pomades, hairsprays. Just make sure that everything you're using is water-soluble and low in alcohol content. You don't want to disrupt the adhesives. And another good point too is I actually don't put in like products. Say he's wearing it. I wouldn't say go and put product in every single day. It would be more of like a add as needed type of thing because he's not going to wash it every single day. So we don't want to just cake up the product on top of each other. And I do feel like the systems, they actually do have pretty good memory. So the styles usually do hold pretty well if you can just do a good blow dry. And his kind of at-home take care is going to be to just make sure he's combing it before he goes to sleep at night and combing it in the morning to make sure we don't get any tangles, and then just making sure that his attachment's right, and then coming in and about 3 weeks to come get his actual reattachment, which is where we're going to take it off, sterilize it, clean the unit for him, and just doctor it up, make sure it all looks great.
One thing I want to note about Janice here is one of the things that Josh did, and I don't know if I might have missed if he's talked about this, but he didn't make a very big unit for her because this wasn't custom ordered a longer length. It was our in-stock one. If he had done too much space, too wide, it would have almost given her like a mullet. And so he chose just the right size. It's about the size of what, say, a topper would be. And so that's going to create a much more natural effect. So depending on your situation and what you're doing, you always want to make sure to take those things into note and consideration as you are moving forward, because there's always options, and that's one of the things we wanted to show as an option. She was looking for a solution. She didn't want to necessarily wait for a custom unit, and so this was a way that we were able to give this to her without her having to lose her length.
And that's going to be stuff that you learn in the NSG class, is how to make custom templates and customize everything to where it's going to fit that, that client's going to have a personalized solution for their problem.
Absolutely.
Speaking about the classes, not only, do you learn how to like make a template and stuff like that, you learn everything from start to finish, everything that you need to know for a successful NSG install.
Yeah.
When it comes to like a thorough consultation, properly color matching, creating a template, transferring that template, like choosing the right application method, choosing the right system, down to, properly laying it down and maintenance and everything in between. So these classes are packed with a ton of information.
You know what, Josh? I mean, I haven't got to make the last couple labs because I was out teaching those NSG classes, and I had on almost every single class someone who has taken a class from someone else that teaches hair systems. And they said they didn't leave feeling confident. They didn't feel like it was as much information. And they said, our kit is just unreal. Nobody is offering anything like this. We are really trying to give you everything you need to be successul.
So, Stacy, how's it going over there with Katie?
It is going good. We are just finishing up her final look with some curls, and then she'll be all done. Like I said, she's been without her extensions for a few months. She took them out for the summer. Going over home care because we did add in a couple of tape-ins that she's not used to. So I feel like as a stylist, like home care is so important. Going over with your clients at the end, during their appointment or at the end of their appointment, what they should and shouldn't do. She's not going to shampoo for 24 to 48 hours with her new tapes in. And then also just knowing just the basic home care for the method of extensions or system that they have chosen. And then also I feel like one of the most important things whenever you're finishing up your client is rebooking, making sure that they have the proper maintenance time and that they will be back in the right amount of time, because that's another thing that can cause issues with extensions in general, is if someone to a different amount of time than they're supposed to with their appointments.
Y'all, look, Denise. This like makes me want to cry for her, y'all. Like, seriously, look at this. She said she absolutely loves it. Look at this hairline. Use it zoomed in close. Like, look at the way that this looks. We left a little bit of her natural hairline out, and so it just blends beautifully. Look at the back. I just threw in some like super quick flat iron waves curls, but this is just incredible. She didn't have to lose her length. She's able to have the comfort. She can go swimming. Not right now. It's about to go into, first winter for Texas, but she's going to have so much freedom. She's going to be able to go shower. She's not going to have to worry about the wind blowing it off. This is absolutely incredible. We have her unit. Underneath it, we have some eye tips. So there really is so many options when you get certified in both. Oh, love it.
All right, guys, and we're getting pretty close to about that point for a commercial.
That last commercial, and then the grand prize.
Don't forget, guys, don't go anywhere.
Don't leave.
I've been walking through the valley of the shadows. I let them tell me who I was. I've been talking myself up onto the gallows. Every time I tried to walk away, I couldn't make it through another day. Everything seems being up in uphill battle. I was trying to make it on my own, my way. You were knocking on the door that I've been looking for. It was right in front of me. I was lost, but now I'm free. And I was blind, but now I see that your love is better than life. Your love is better than life. But I ain't turning back now. It's never so amazed. Now your love is better than.
My experience during this 2-day training was absolutely wonderful. I had, some anxiety going in, but I had some really great aha moments, and ultimately I feel a lot more confident now. I do feel like this is a service that will benefit my business behind the chair, absolutely. I 100% recommend this training to other stylists.
Welcome back.
So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our grand prize giveaway. Here, you do this one.
Oh, I get to do this one?
I'll do this one.
Oh. What if I wanted to do that one? Jeez. Okay, so the next one we're going to give away is the DC kit. Again, this is an incredible value. It is worth so much more than what we charge for. It's $4.99 for online, $5.99 for hands-on. This is a fantastic kit. I promise you it's worth more than that. This is going out from Instagram at Christine_colorist. Congratulations, you have won. Make sure to DM social media or email social media at dreamcatchers.com. Send your name, your address, and your email address.
So congratulations, you get this amazing DC 4-in-1 kit.
Yes.
So then last up, we have one more giveaway for this evening. And this is going to be for our last pair of shark fin monarch shears. Now, you guys, these shears are incredible. They're valued at $1,000. Marlis and I both use them.
That's what I was just cutting with, was these monarch shears. They're fantastic.
They're incredible. So these go to an Instagram viewer, Marcus Shutter. So again, all of you that have won amazing prizes tonight, send an email to socialmedia@dreamcatchers.com, your name, your phone number, and your address, and we'll get these all shipped out to you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you learned a lot. We hope you had tons of fun. I hope you took advantage of the discounts and got signed up for some classes. And I hope you won a prize and just had fun with us. So we will be back next month on December 11th. We know it's the holiday season. We know a lot of you are busy, but I promise you we'll bring you some stuff to make it worth it. So join us on December 11th, same time, 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Now, we know that you guys have been watching all night to see these transformations. Stay tuned to our social media where we'll be sharing these transformations. And thank you guys all for watching. This was a fun one.
Yes, it was. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. And happy Thanksgiving.